Used to plus the infinitive form of the verb is a way we have of talking about the past and implying that things are different now. But it isn't the only way. We can also use would plus the infinitive or the past simple. So how and when do we use used to, would, and the past simple? I was thinking about how to show you this, and it occurs to me that the most obvious way is to show you how different life was for me when I lived in England, even though I was an English teacher in England too. Remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when I upload new content. Okay, so let's get started. But first things first, pronunciation. It's used to, used to. We drop the D because the T sound is stronger, and so it becomes a single word, used to. I recently filmed a video about how we link words together to speak more confidently and fluently in English. So I'll leave a card for you right up there for you to check out, but later. Right now, let's talk about how we use used to, would, and the past simple. Ready? Join me for a trip down memory lane. Okay, so things have really changed since I lived in London. Firstly, I used to be married and I used to have 2 stepsons. We'll come back to this later. Next, as I lived in London, I used to drive on the left. No, I'm just kidding. This isn't really my car, but it is me driving on the left. It's a friend's car. Here is my car, and you can see I used to drive on the left. I'd originally learned how to drive on the right, so I had to take some driving lessons and pass a test to get a driving license in the UK. I used to love driving on the left. It felt exotic, like an accomplishment, even though I know it isn't. But whenever I go back to the UK now, I always rent a car for a day or two just to keep practicing my driving on the left skills. I mentioned that I used to be an English teacher in London as well, but I used to teach students from all over the world. We used to organize day trips to museums like the Tate Modern, and afterwards the students would write about their favorite painting or sculpture or exhibition. And we'd create these notice boards to be displayed around the school. Many times, students would invite me to spend time with them, try their traditional food, listen to their music, and they would teach me a lot about their cultures. For a long time after leaving the UK, I really missed this aspect of my life. Something else I used to do was to go out cycling with a group of cyclists. We'd agree by email to meet at a specific underground station on a Sunday morning, and then we'd go around cycling for a couple of hours, and then we'd have a lovely pub lunch before cycling back to the underground station where we'd met. Occasionally, I used to visit my Aunt Eileen in her lovely cottage in Horsham, West Sussex. Sometimes she used to cook for us, and other times we'd go to a pub nearby. I used to love spending time with my Aunt Eileen. She gave me a lot of information, which was really helpful for me. And I miss her a lot. Something else that was really different was that I used to travel a lot. Family and friends from America, the country and the continent, used to come and visit, and we'd go to wonderful places together. Once my brother came to visit, and we went together to a tiny island off the coast of Scotland called Holy Isle. I'd read that a group of Tibetan monks lived there, and it was true. Some of the places I used to visit more frequently were Stonehenge, which is closer to London, and Bath. But I also used to travel further afield. Something I didn't used to do as regularly as I do now was to sit in meditation. Although it was in England that I learned all about meditation. And for a while at least, I used to drive 18 miles from where I lived in Bromley to the Buddhist Center in Croydon to attend a walk-in meditation session. Those sessions were the foundation for the solid practice I have and share with others today. Also, I didn't used to have gray hair, but now I'm older and wiser. What about you? If you think about your own life and how things used to be, what area of your life would you choose to speak about that used to be different? Write a comment below about an area of your life that used to be different. Okay, did you recognize used to, would, and past simple? Let's look at a few examples and see how the three of them are similar, but also how they might be different. So the forms are used to plus the infinitive form of a verb, would plus the infinitive form of a verb, and past simple. Okay, number one. I said I used to be married and I used to have 2 stepsons. This is because we use used to plus the infinitive form of the verb to talk about past habits and states. I could also say I was married and I had 2 stepsons. And the meaning would be similar because these are finished matters belonging to the past. And things are different now. But I cannot say I would be married and I would have 2 stepsons because we cannot use would with state verbs. And what are state verbs? State verbs are verbs we use to express thoughts and feelings, like think, know, agree, believe, prefer, imagine, hate, and love, like, want, feel, and mean. Other state verbs are verbs we use to express experience. For example, be, hear, see, look, smell, taste, sound. And state verbs also include verbs we use to talk about possessions, like belong, own, possess, have got, and include. So we don't use would with these state verbs. But it's okay to say that the students would create a notice board and that we would spend time together, because create and spend time together are not state verbs. They talk about actions and events. I can also say we'd agree to meet and we'd cycle together and we'd stop at a pub. So I'm contracting would, and the meaning is the same as we used to agree, we used to cycle, we used to stop. Okay, now let's look at how used to and the past simple are similar and different. I can say, for example, I used to live in England and I lived in England. And in that case, the meaning is similar. But I don't use used to just to say what happened in the past without this implication that things are different now. And I don't use used to say how long something took or how often something happened. So I can say, I had the idea for this video last week, but I cannot say I used to have the idea for this video last week, because we use the past simple to express something that happened at a past time. And I can say I lived in London for 10 years, but I cannot say I used to live in London for 10 years, because we use the past simple to say how long. And I can say I traveled to Ireland twice when I lived in England, but I cannot say I used to travel to Ireland twice, because we don't use used to talk about how often. Okay, hope you found that helpful. And if you're looking to improve your English studying habits, make sure you pick up a copy of my free audiobook that you can pick up right there in the description box. A 5-step guide to transform your English. You know, it's little things we do every day that really take us a long way. Remember to comment below using used to, would, and past simple to talk about an area of your life that's different now. Subscribe to my channel and watch another video right there. There's another video for you to watch. Until next time.